to this week's video. So, for this week's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the ins and outs of being a YouTuber. And this is coming from a small YouTuber because I feel like a lot of small YouTubers don't get to know really the ins and outs of being a YouTuber. And they look at a lot of bigger YouTubers, and a lot of those bigger YouTubers sometimes don't tell everything. So that's why I want to kind of tell you guys the ins and outs of being a YouTuber and what I personally do for my channel. So with that being said, let's hop right into this video since I know it's going to be a long one. Let's go. So the first thing for being a YouTuber is planning videos, and you can do this in multiple different ways. I personally use the website or app called Trello, and I do this just to keep a bunch of different boards, and I split my boards up by topic, and I just put any video ideas that I have in those specific topics, just so I can keep them going, and I have pretty much a list running constantly. You can also keep a list on your notes, and you can help divide this all out by creating folders in your notes app. And that's really helpful, and I know some YouTubers do it that way. I personally use Trello just because I do a lot of planning on my computer and I do not have a Mac, so I don't have the way to synchronize stuff. Sync between my phone and my laptop, and I found the best way to do that was by using this app and website. So that's what I like to use. When I plan my videos though, about content, all my content stuff, I recently have been using the Excel method, where you can use regular like Word Excel or Microsoft Excel, but I like to use it on Google, so Google Sheets. And pretty much what I do is I break it down by the month, by the date, the date that it is going to be uploaded, the video title, the day I filmed it, the day I completed editing it, and then a note. So this is any bullet points that I need to remember to add. So the next thing that I do is I use Google Calendar, and I like to just put all my information on here for days that I'm going to be posting videos. So pretty much my personal preference, I'm starting to post Wednesdays and Saturdays. So I just have the video that's going up that day on my Google Calendar just so I can see it. But I as well use this for other business purposes. Days I'll be editing, days I have to go take pictures, anything of that sort. I kind of have all of that laid out there on my Google Calendar. So I like to do that for kind of planning and kind of keeping track of what videos I have going up what day on there. When it comes down to brainstorming ideas for all of these content, I like to do different things. So I like to go through my YouTube and kind of see what's trending, what's recommended, kind of popular videos. So I do that. I look through my comments on Instagram, as well as my comments on YouTube, and kind of see if I can pull video ideas, if anyone's recommended video ideas, things like that. Sometimes I will do polls or kind of questions about video ideas that I personally have, as well as in my analytics, I kind of see what my top trending videos are, what gets the most views, click-through rate, things like that, and kind of create videos that bounce off of those. So that's kind of how I brainstorm and plan out my videos. So next is equipment. And if you're starting off, you do not need some major fancy equipment. I'll kind of tell you a little bit about my equipment story and kind of what I use and things like that. You can invest, you don't have to invest. It is completely up to you. I had a Nikon camera before. And that was just because of photography and things like that I did. So I used that camera for filming. And then that camera broke. So I was like, okay, like what am I gonna do? I think I probably went to either a PowerShot camera. I think I went to a PowerShot camera. And then I went and I bought a camcorder off of Amazon for like $100 and some bucks. Did that, used that for a little while. Actually used that for a lot of a while. Started working, and I used my first paycheck to buy my Canon EOS Rebel FL2. I just say Canon FL2 camera, and I absolutely love it. But obviously figure out what works best for you. There's so many cameras that are on the market. Just do your research and figure out what works for you. But honestly, using an iPhone camera is not gonna kill you. It all depends on your lighting. So I think if you have a ring light, if you have natural light, whatever kind of lighting source that you can get, this will benefit the quality of your video and will make it a lot better, and won't really matter about what camera you're filming on. So with that being said, I use ring lights and box lights. So the difference between those is the box lights or umbrella lights. You have to fully screw in a light bulb into them, set them up. You have to, when you're ready to take them down, you have to let them cool, and you have to do all this stuff. You have to make sure light bulbs don't break, which I did, and all this kind of stuff. So it's a lot more of a process of putting up and taking down. The ring light is really simple and easy. You just attach it onto a tripod. And I got mine, the one that I used from Amazon. I think I got it for Christmas, but I think it was like 20 bucks. Not really expensive, but if you want to invest in a really good ring light, obviously do so, because I know that they make the Diva lights and things like that. But I use my ring light and it works perfectly fine for me. I can adjust the settings on it, which is really great, and make the brightness, you know, whatever I need it to be. So I love that, and this is also really easy to move around, and you're not really having to lug so much stuff because you're really only bringing one light, versus the box lights or my umbrella lights. I had 3. I was using 3. So like that's kind of, I personally love the ring lights now, but whatever works for you. If you have a studio and you know you're going to be keeping all of your lights up, the box lights or umbrella lights might be a better option for you. But personally, the ring lights are easy for me, just because I'm not always having my camera up and I'm not always having my lights up. And then with college and everything, it was just easier to have one specific thing just to move it a lot easier around. So yeah. So next is tripods, and this is really easy. You can invest in some. So you can get them at Target, you can get them at Walmart, Amazon, pretty much anywhere that sells like camera equipment stuff. But these, I think I got mine for like 20 bucks or something. But there's probably more expensive ones out there, obviously. But you don't have to have a tripod. A lot of YouTubers some will admit that they use books. They use things like that to kind of stabilize their camera. Obviously be careful about that because you don't want it to fall. I personally use tripods as much as possible just to make sure my videos are stable. And things like that. The one issue that I kind of have with tripods, which probably am having in this video, Mine is not wanting to like be even, so that's something I'm really working on with my tripod because it's wanting to give me some problems today. But that's just like, it just makes it easy because it's stable, it's level, and you can adjust and have angles with your tripods, while you can't really do that with a buildable one, or one that you like, you know, stack stuff up on each other, or stack things on top of, you know. But another thing that I really like are bendable tripods and flexible tripods. These are really cool. I actually have 2 of them, and I like these for, I have one for my phone and I have one for my camera, and I can do some more overhead angled down shots with these. I can latch them onto things and kind of have them wrap around objects to be able to get better angles and things like that. So they're really movable if you want to do angles or anything like that. So I mean, that's completely up to you if that's something that you want to invest in. When I got my camera, mine was like a kit, and mine had one of the flexible tripods in there, and I love it. I don't have anything wrong with it. It makes it easy because it is smaller, so you can move it around and kind of, say if I'm in the bathroom filming, I can use that tripod and angle it to me, but I'm not having to carry around and lug a huge tripod that's, you know, so many feet. And then the next thing is editing software, and a lot of people think that, you know, this is insane, you have to invest so much money, blah blah blah. Like, there's a lot of different softwares out there, and you don't really have to invest a whole ton. If you're doing this from your phone, you have iMovie. A lot of YouTubers have actually done really cool stuff and became really successful off of using iMovie. So, you know, if that's all you have access to, go for it. Don't be ashamed. I personally, you know, I was filming on my camera. I didn't want to have to put this stuff into my phone to be able to edit, so I looked for some other resources. My computer came with an editing software. I personally didn't like it, and I had invested in Filmora, which was the editing software I used to really use until the one I use now. But with Filmora, I think it was like $100 and some for lifetime, and I thought, for the heck of it, why not? You know, it makes it really easy. The software was an upgrade from what I was using before, which I was pretty much just using one that came on my computer. It was like really crappy. I couldn't really do many effects or anything like that on it, so I upgraded to Filmora. And I used this for a while. When I mean a while, like, we're talking, I think 2 years or so. Up until recently, I actually switched to Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a whole nother story. I kick myself in the butt at Playlist for not watching the, like, we're doing a panel, or it wasn't really a panel, it was one lady, I cannot remember who, or one YouTuber, I cannot remember for the life of me who it was, but she was doing a tutorial on Adobe Premiere Pro, and I totally crossed my head because I was like, I'm using Filmora, like, this is what I'm sticking with. But now that I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro, I kick my butt for not going and watching, or for not fully watching it, because, you know, I was like, I don't need this. With Adobe Premiere Pro, I don't know exactly how much it is just to buy Adobe Premiere Pro. I have the suite for college, so pretty much I need Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and all those kind of stuff for my major. So with having the Adobe suite in the cloud, you actually get Premiere Pro with it. So I thought, why not just upgrade and use Adobe Premiere Pro, since it's a little bit more on the professional side. of editing. So with that being said, that is what I've been using. I've actually only uploaded, I want to say 2 videos or so with it. So I'm 2 or 3 videos, so I'm not like an expert per se as to Adobe Premiere Pro yet, but it is something that I'm working on. But anyways, you don't need an editing software that is super crazy. So I just wanted to kind of like put that out there. So the next one is outlining videos. And when it comes to outlining videos, you can do this on paper, you can do this on a document. It's really, really simple. Put your intro, what you want to say in your intro, and bullet points about what you want to say in your intro. Make everything bullet points so it does not feel robotic. Bullet points are pretty much just going to help you remember the thing you want to say, and then you can elaborate on it more. Create topic sentences when you're doing your outlines. I like to break mine up by whatever topic I'm doing, and then bullet points again as to what I'm going to be talking about in that topic. So that's how I like to break that up. I as well include in here when I'm doing my B-rolls and things like that, which is really helpful, I think, because it kind of helps me. I just like doing it personally, just to kind of know where I'm putting stuff in my video. But that's kind of a little extra. You guys don't have to do that. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is for outlining. Just bullet points will help so you don't seem robotic. Pretty much is what it comes down to. So tips for filming. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, lighting is a big key. Lighting will help with the quality if you don't have such a good camera. So I definitely would suggest just kind of focusing on that if you're starting off by just using your phone or something. Just make sure you have really good lighting, because that'll help you a lot. When it comes down to filming videos, just know that it's okay to mess up. Behind the scenes of, YouTubers, a lot of us mess up. We mess up all the time. We're constantly cutting clips out of us messing up, and us pausing and things like that. So it's okay to do that. Don't feel stressed out, overwhelmed, or upset that that's what you're doing, because it's okay. Just cut it out. You'll be fine. And then the next thing that I'm still working on this. I've caught myself doing it a few times in this video. Do not look at the viewfinder, look at the camera. And what I mean by that is your viewers will be able to see your eye going to the viewfinder, and it's going to look so awkward. It's going to look like you're like looking off to the side, you're not wanting to give them the attention. So with that being said, look into the camera, and if you have a viewfinder, don't look at the viewfinder, because it'll look really, really off. And I don't know, I just feel like it just kind of shows that you're... So, editing tips. Some stuff that I recommend for editing is using shortcuts, because this will help save so much time when it comes down to editing stuff. If you kind of just memorize or start learning the shortcuts, it'll kind of it will cut down on your editing time, and just make it a lot easier for you. So I recommend that. I also recommend doing voiceovers when you can, just because it helps kind of make it feel a little bit personal. But as well as if you can't, or you're struggling to do voiceovers, or you don't know how to do voiceovers, texts are not a bad option. Try to switch with text, switch things up, like fonts, the spaces within the letterings, the color, the size, bold versus italic, things like that, just to kind of give it some definition, to change things up and kind of make the viewer curious as to, and make it kind of like engaging. So try that with text if you can't do voiceovers, or you just like text over voiceovers. So for audio, I definitely love using audio and music in the background, but a lot of people question how, you can get like free audio and copyright free audio, because sometimes you go on YouTube, you search non-copyright music, and sometimes you still get copyrighted. So I like to use different things. There's so many different websites. I personally use Epidemic Sounds. I'm pretty sure I pay for it. I'm not 100% sure. But that's what I use for my music. And then all I have to do is pretty much copy the link that they give you and just put it into my description box in my videos, and then it just helps so it's not copyrighted. So the next thing that I recommend is transitions, and this just helps make the video flow really easy from one clip to the next, and just so it's not choppy. But as well, I feel like it's interesting to have transitions that kind of like add spice and definition to the video. So yeah. And then another thing with either transitions you can do or just like little effects that you can do in your video are sound effects. And these will be really helpful. You can kind of do a page curl sound with a page curl transition, and that'll kind of keep grabbing the viewer's attention. Next thing I like to do and I recommend are overlays, and these are so you can, they're pretty much like text, they can be text overlays with like boxes and things like that. They can be, you know, emojis and characters and whatever, food, places, things like that. But this kind of, I feel like, is a little bit kind of engaging and fun, and you know, it adds a little bit of creativity and spice to videos. And yeah, so if it's something that appeals to you, definitely recommend doing them. The next thing is color correcting, and I personally don't color correct much of my videos, just because of my lighting. I normally don't need to really color correct, but if you want to color correct, you should definitely do that. A lot of people I know do the orange and teal color correction, but there are a lot of different things. I'm not the person to ask about color correction, so I would definitely go look at a different video for color correction tips. But a lot of people like color correction, which adds like saturation, and you play around with the hue and the tint and the vibrance and all of that kind of stuff. So that, you know, can be a factor in your video, but I personally don't use it, so I don't know much to kind of really have an input on that. Next, I recommend pre-doing your intros and outros, and this will be really easy. When I mean your intros and your outros, I'm talking about like your main, I guess like intro, like how mine is, and then my outro meaning my end slate, at the end of my video, where it says like the next video, where it says subscribe, things like that. I have this pre-done and ready to go, so just drag and drop them into the sequence, so I'm not having to redo them every time. I just find it a lot easier just so they're done, and less work that I have to do, and I don't have to worry about making them even and making them look the exact same as, you know, the previous video. So that's what I like to do and what I recommend. So the next thing is thumbnails, and with thumbnails I recommend doing, there's like a difference. You can like pre-take them, which would be like I have a back full thing of clothes and I'm like this, and like that kind of stuff, or you can go ahead and like, what is it, like take them from your actual video. So I personally, sometimes I'll take them from my video, sometimes I'll do like the pre ones, but it's just whatever works best for you. That's what a lot of, you know, you'll see that difference within YouTube thumbnails. But make your thumbnails engaging. This is when you can play around with color, saturation, tone, things like that. Make sure your text make sure it's like big and bold, something that is eye-catching. You want to make it something that your viewers are going to want to click on. It helps with all of that kind of stuff and just the amount of times it will get seen, and obviously the more it's seen, the more views you get on your video and the more attraction you get to your channel. So for keywords and what I do for my description boxes and all of that and my tags and everything, I like to use keywords in my description specifically that are related to the title, because the more times you use it in the description, the better and more likely it's going to be seen. So that is kind of like a little tidbit help there. I also use the application TubeBuddy to go ahead and like help pick kind of what is going to work best for my video, based off of the title and everything, what works best. And I also use TubeBuddy to help with my SEO and kind of my like how it's going to be searched and what tags are going to be searchable and can help me rank more. So within the tags, you can use up to 500 characters. I recommend using like most or all of your 500 characters, because the more tags you used, the more that it's going to be seen, depending on how people search things, because everyone words stuff differently. Or, you know, it'll just make it so your video is more searchable pretty much. So that's what I recommend doing for your keywords and in your description. So I'm going to dive in a little bit on this video about YouTube analytics. I'm not going to dive in a whole lot because I want to make a separate video on YouTube analytics, but pretty much your SEO is going to be your search engine optimization and pretty much just how your video is being searched. One pro thing that I love about the whole analytics page and everything like that is you can see where your views are coming from, whether that's the geography, which would be like location. You can see how many are subscribed and how many are not subscribed. You can see like what videos people are coming from and like clicking on your videos from. What else? There's a whole lot. Like there's so much. Like if you say I promote all my videos, meaning I put them all on my social medias, my Snapchat, my Instagram, things like that. And you can kind of see where if views are coming from there. So it kind of helps you kind of determine where your views are coming from, which I find to be amazing within the analytics, because you can kind of see where your target audience is from. And for me, a lot of people go from my Instagram to my YouTube channel, which helps me because I can ask my Instagram audience what they want to see on my YouTube, and then they see me post that video eventually, and they're like, hey, I wanted to see that, let me click it. And that helps bring engagement to your page. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, comment below, and subscribe. Let me know if you want another video like this, or if you want me to go in depth in a different video on any of the topics that I talked about. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Yeah, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!